Good afternoon, students. Today we are going to discuss monotonic preferences. The topics which we discussed in the previous class, those comes under indifference curve. So in that indifference curve, what do you mean by the indifference curve? It is where the utility won't change, and we will try to find out the bundles, different combination of goods. So in that we discussed what do you mean by marginal rate of substitution and the law of diminishing marginal rate of substitution. So all comes under this indifference curve only. Here in this curve, we will try to keep this satisfaction level same and try to find out the bundles which gives the customer same satisfaction level. And what this marginal rate of substitutes tells, if we want to substitute one product for another product, then that curve what we will get, that is indifference curve, and what we are substituting the product for other product, by reducing this product we are getting more of this quantity. So this here we are substituting this product for this product. So this we call it as marginal rate of substitution. At what rate we are substituting one product for another product. And law of diminishing marginal rate of substitution says the same thing. When there is a negative relationship between these things, when there is an increase in the quantity of this product, whatever we are substituting, the rate also decreases. Suppose if we are sacrificing 3 quantity for one, suppose if it is banana and apple, if we are sacrificing 3 banana for 1 apple, and later it diminishes, the marginal rate of substitution reduces, diminishes. So here we are going to sacrifice or replace or substitute 2 bananas for 1 apple. Here 1 banana for 1 apple. It starts reducing. This reducing rate we call it as diminishing marginal rate of substitution. This comes under indifference curve. And again in this, the next topic is what do you mean by monotonic preferences? Monotonic preferences means here the consumers, what is his preference? It is monotonic here. Monotonic means what? Suppose I will give an example. Apple and banana. This is first bundle and this is second bundle. X1 is first bundle, X2 is second bundle. In this first bundle, we have 10 bananas with 5 apple. Okay, here in this bundle we have 10 bananas, 3 apple. Monotonic preferences of a consumer says that when in a bundle, when we are comparing between 2 bundles, if one product is more, keeping the other products, other good, we have 2 goods, right? Good 1 and good 2. If one good apple is more in quantity compared to other bundle, and keeping the other product same, if the apple is more in this bundle compared to other bundle and keeping this banana quantity of banana same, then what is his preference? So he will select this bundle. Correct? That nature of a consumer, we say that it is his monotonic preferences. He prefers this bundle. Is preferring the bundles. If it is like this, then we call it as monotonic preferences. If we have two, as I said, if we have two bundles, each bundle has two goods. Okay, even this bundle has two goods, and even this bundle also has two goods. Suppose if one good, the quantity of one good is more than the quantity of the same good in second bundle. If the quantity here in first bundle of this good is more than quantity of the same good in second bundle, and the other good is same, then he will select this. अगर एप्पल का क्वांटिटी इस बंडल में ज्यादा है कंपेयर टू सेकेंड बंडल एंड बनानास क्वांटिटीज आर सेम इन टू बंडल, देन कंज्यूमर इस बंडल को प्रेफर करता है बिकॉज बनाना तो उतना ही क्वांटिटी में मिल रहा है उसको, एंड एप्पल कंपेयर किया तो ये बंडल से इस बंडल में एप्पल ज्यादा मिल रहा है. दैट इज व्हाई इट इज क्वाइट कॉमन कंज्यूमर प्रेफर्स दिस. Okay, that nature we call it as monotonic preferences. Consumers' preferences between two bundles if two bundles, we can say x1 x2 and y1 y2. Okay, so if x1 x2 has more of at least one of the goods and no less of the other good compared to another bundle. x1 x2 y1 y2. Bundle A, bundle B, here it is 8, 15, it is 5, 15. Okay, these are the quantities. Consumers preference between two bundles x1 x2 and y1 y2. If x1 x2 this bundle has more of at least one of the goods, if it has more in quantity, if not two, at least one. If not two, at least one is more when compared to other bundle, no less of the other goods. And when they are telling this is more, x1 here it is more compared to other bundle, the same way it should not reduce, the quantity should not reduce here. Okay, so and no less of the other good. The other good, the quantity is not lesser compared to this combination. Both are, we can keep both same. Keeping these two goods of different bundle same, if this is, if this bundle has at least one of the good more than this bundle, then compared to Y and Y2, consumer prefers X1, X2. Then, if this is the case, then consumer prefers X1, X2 bundle, this bundle. Okay? मैं और एक बार एक्सप्लेन करता हूँ. वी हैव, हमारे पास टू बंडल्स हैं. इस बंडल में x1 x2 गुड क्वांटिटी इसका 8 है एंड इस गुड का 15 है. ठीक है, इस बंडल में. और इस बंडल में इसका क्वांटिटी 5 है एंड इसका क्वांटिटी 15 है. तो मोनोटोनिक प्रेफरेंस बोले तो अगर कंज्यूमर को हम टू बंडल्स ऑफर किया तो उसमें एक बंडल का एक गुड रहता ना, सपोज इस गुड का क्वांटिटी दूसरे बंडल का इस गुड से क्वांटिटी ज्यादा, एटलीस्ट वन गुड का क्वांटिटी ज्यादा है और अदर गुड्स का इससे कम नहीं होना चाहिए. ठीक है, इट्स नॉट बी लेसर देन दिस. अगर ये दोनों कम, एक कंपेयर किया तो इससे ये कम नहीं है और ये गुड क्वांटिटी में इससे ज्यादा है, देन व्हाट इज हिज प्रेफरेंस, ही विल गो विद x1 एंड x2. इसको हम क्या बोलते हैं, मोनोटोनिक प्रेफरेंसेस. ओके, नाउ वी हैव indifference map. One more topic, that is indifference map. We know indifference curve, right? Indifference curve means satisfaction level is same. And what do you mean by indifference map? Consumers' preference over the family of indifference curves gives us indifference map. Consumer preference over a family of indifference curve gives us indifference map. So we know this concept, monotonic preferences, and we have three curves here. Okay, so here we have family of indifference curve. This is, you can say IC1, this is IC2, indifference curve 2, and this is indifference curve 3. Okay, so when we have family of indifference curve, what is preferences, what consumer prefers. For example, bundle A, bundle B, and bundle C. In bundle A, it is 115, 212, 3, 10 and 4, 9. This we already discussed. The bundle means two goods, apple and banana, we can say. This is banana here and this is apple. This is one indifference curve. I can say this. I see one. I see one. I see two. I see three. And we have isometric curve. Here it is okay. If you see the bundles here, okay, in this indifference curve, we have here we will keep the satisfaction level same, right? So I will mention that also here. I am finding out the place to mention that. Okay. Where we can mention that the satisfaction level, we can mention it here. Okay. Say X. Satisfaction level is here X. Here X plus 2, X plus 3. In this indifference curve, it is 115 combination, first combination A, B, C, D. These are the combination. Okay. So first 115. Here this is first one apple, 15 bananas, 2, 12. Two apple, 12 bananas, 3, 10. 3 apple, 10 bananas, and 4, 9. 4 apples and 9 bananas. You can just give the numbers and draw the curve. Yes, I am pointing out those bundles here. You can say like this. Okay. So this we will get first indifference curve. In the second indifference curve, here he is getting 2 apples, but the banana is same. Banana is same here, 15, 12, 10, and 9. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So in the first indifference curve, 1 apple, 15 bananas, and in second combination, 2 apple, 12 bananas, and 3 apples, 10 bananas, 4 apple, 9 bananas. So you can just mention the graph here and we draw a perfect problem. Okay. Okay, so first we will try to draw this curve. First, indifference curve. In the first combination, 1 apple, 15 banana, 1 apple, 15 banana. Here we have 1 point. 2 apples, 12 banana, 2 apples, 12 banana. Here we have second set bundle, 3, 10. This is third bundle, and this is 4, 9. 4, 9. This is fourth bundle. So if I draw the curve, this is the first indifference curve. Okay. Now I'll try to find out the second one. 2 apple, 15 banana. 2 apple, 15 banana. So here it is. Here. 2 apple, 15 banana. 3 apple, 12. 3, 12, 4, 10, 5, 9. If I draw the curve, I'll get like this, and this is IC2. Now I go with IC3, indifference curve 3. 3 apples, 15 banana. 3 apples, 15 banana. 4 apples, 12 bananas. 5 apples, 10 bananas. 6 apples, 9 bananas. So this curve is like this. Look like this. I see 3. Okay. Now we have families of indifference curve. Okay. So this is first indifference curve, second indifference curve, third indifference curve. So what is consumer's preference over these indifference curves, over these families of indifference curve? That all together we will call it as indifference map. Okay. So here, as we already know monotonic preferences, in the first combination he has 1 apple, 15 bananas, correct? The second, he has 2 apples, 15 bananas. So with this nature, monotonic nature, what he will do, he will go with this bundle, where he will get 2 apples, 15 bananas. When you have these 2 bundles, if you give him these 2 bundles, where he will get 2 apples and 15 banana in this bundle, and in this bundle he will get 3 apples and 15 banana. When you ask him to prefer between these 2 bundles, he will prefer this bundle because he is getting 3 apples. So that says he is monotonic. His preferences are monotonic in nature. So, and when we know this, we assume that his nature is monotonic, and when we plot this data here, we will get these curves. IC curve 1, 2, 3. Okay. So when what we will say this, his satisfaction is higher. When we increase this indifference curve, it means that here, if his satisfaction here it is X here, then the satisfaction level is higher compared to IC1. In the IC2, his satisfaction level is higher than this curve. When we compare to IC between IC3 and IC2, his satisfaction level is still higher here in this IC3 compared to IC2. ठीक है ना? क्योंकि when we see here, he is getting same 15 bananas, but apples is getting 3. Correct? 3 apples. So that is why he will get more satisfied here compared to second curve. But when we compare it to the first curve, here his satisfaction level is more. He is getting 2 apples for 15 banana. Here he is getting only 1 apple. So that is why when this IC curve is higher, that satisfaction level also higher. There is increase in the satisfaction level. So indifference map means, as I said, the consumer preference over all the bundles can be represented in figure as you mentioned there. This is called an indifference map of that consumer. So consumer's preference over the family of indifference curve, if we represent in this way, then this we call it as indifference map. And when we have two bundles, in that bundle, if the quantity of at least one good is higher than the other good of different bundle, and keeping the other good, दूसरा प्रोडक्ट को क्वांटिटी को सेम रख के इसका क्वांटिटी चेक किया तो इसका क्वांटिटी अगर इस बंडल से इसका क्वांटिटी ज्यादा है तो कंज्यूमर प्रेफर्स दिस. दिस इज मोनोटोनिक नेचर. And using this, if we draw the curves, the whatever family of indifference curve we will get, that we call it as indifference map here. So we know what do you mean by monotonic preference, and you can expect questions on this in your syllabus. If you go to exercise, you will get these questions. What do you mean by monotonic preferences? And you have a question like this also. In one bundle, he has 6 apple and 5 mangoes, you can say. And in another bundle, he has 8 apples and 5 mangoes. 6 apple, 5 mangoes, 8 apple, 5 mangoes. If he is monotonic, which bundle he prefers? There is a question in your 4th chapter. So obviously he will go with this bundle. If he is monotonic, he will go with this bundle. Like that we can expect the questions. Now we understood monotonic preferences. Now we also discuss what do you mean by indifference map. The next topic is the features of indifference curve. Features of indifference curve. All these we already discussed, that only we will put as features. So what we know, indifference curve is the slope is towards down. Okay, the indifference curve, it is diminishing. Okay, it is downwards falling from left to right. Correct? The slope is downwards from left to right. From here, this is left side. From here, it is towards right. It is the slope is in negative. It is downwards falling. Okay, that is first feature. Indifference curve slopes downwards. From left to The first feature is indifference curve slopes downwards from left to right. It is sloping downwards from left to right. Correct? So if we ask this question again, if we question this feature, why it always slopes downwards from left to right? Why? Because again it is coming back to indifference curve. Fine? Having limited resources, to keep his satisfaction level same, we need to sacrifice the one good to get another good. Correct? So, having this apple, we need to forego this banana. Having additional apples, the consumer has to forego with this banana, because limited are resources are limited. That's why to get extra quantity of this product, we need to reduce here. That is the reason this indifference curve is always, it slopes downwards from left to right. And what is the second feature? The second feature says this one. The second feature is all about this. As he is monotonic, if the indifference curve is higher, then his satisfaction level also increases. That is that is the second feature of indifference curve. So we will write that here. Higher indifference curve gives greater level of utility. This also we need. This also, we know this. Higher indifference curve gives greater level of utility. This is compared to IC1. IC3 is greater than IC2 and IC2 is greater than IC1. The higher the IC curve gives greater level of utility. The IC curve 1 is greater than IC curve 2. Pardon? This IC curve, second IC curve is greater than IC curve 1. So in this case, here the utility is greater compared to IC1. When we compare between these things, what utility, so as we mentioned, if the utility is X here in IC curve 1, it is higher. In this IC curve, in the higher IC curve, the utility also higher, so we can say X plus 2. When again this utility curve is higher, the utility also, if the indifference curve is higher, then the utility also is greater. If the indifference curve is greater, if it is higher, then the utility also is greater compared to this one. So that is second feature. When we move from this utility curve to this utility curve, higher utility curve, then the satisfaction level also it is greater here. If we two different IC curves never intersect, we know that. We have two different IC curves, IC1, IC2. Is these two curves intersecting? No, correct? Because when we move to higher IC curve, the satisfaction level also it is higher. What happens if these IC curves intersects? You will see that. This is 15 bananas with 2 apples. Point A, and this is point B where is getting 2 apple 15 bananas here, 2 apple 15 banana. In point B he is getting 9 bananas, sorry, 6 apple, 9 bananas. Here in this point he is getting 6 apples and 9 bananas. Suppose in this curve, this is IC curve 1. Okay, this is IC curve 2. So as we already know, whatever bundles we are using here, whatever bundles we are using, A, C. Okay, A, B, C. In all these bundles, his satisfaction level is same. In the indifference curve, we are, as we know, the bundles, these different bundles gives him same satisfaction level. So that satisfaction level we will call it as X. Fine. Now we will move to higher indifference curve. That is this one. Here he is getting 3 apples, 15 bananas. I can say this M. Okay. In this bundle, he is getting 3 apples, 15 bananas. So obviously, if we compare between these two bundles, he will go with this. Correct? So I will mention the satisfaction level here. Here his satisfaction level is here, this X. If we move to higher indifference curve, where we get 3 apples, 15 banana, then his satisfaction level also, from the second feature, the satisfaction level also increases from X to X plus 2 in this higher indifference curve, because he is getting this. If you see in this point where he is getting 4 apple, 8 banana. Okay. In the IC curve, in the first indifference curve, he is also getting same 4 apples, 8 banana. In this IC curve 2, he is getting the 4 apples, 8 bananas. Correct? Here it is intersecting. In this point B, this curve is intersecting. As we know, each and every bundle gives him same satisfaction. This bundle A gives him X satisfaction, bundle C gives him X satisfaction. And we have one more bundle here, and this bundle F gives him X plus 2 satisfaction. So when we come to this point, the intersecting point, so this point is on the curve 1 as well as 2. So this point is on the IC curve 1 and this point is on IC curve 2. So what is his satisfaction level? Whether we should consider it as X or X plus 2. So here in this curve, his satisfaction level is X plus 2, correct? If you consider this curve, his satisfaction level is X. So when we come to this point, the satisfaction level should not change. It is indifferent. It is indifference. The utility is indifference. So इस पॉइंट पे उसका यूटिलिटी क्या होता है? X या X plus 2. Correct? We can't get a clear result here. This is contradictory. Means in this curve, we can't say whether this is getting X satisfaction or X plus 2. That is why, as we know, all the points using same satisfaction level with that point, we can say these curves never intersect each other. That is third feature. Here we are getting conflict result. So point B, we are getting conflicting result. Why it is conflicting? As per the indifference curve, the satisfaction level here should be same compared to these two bundles. That should here point B, his satisfaction level should be X only. But when we compare to this curve, point M and point B, which are on the same curve, if this point and this bundle is giving X plus 2 satisfaction, then the bundle B also should give him X plus 2 satisfaction. Correct? But that is why the results, if you want to get here in point B, the intersecting point, it is conflicting. That is why we can say the two indifference curves never intersect. That is third feature. So now I'll stop here. All these points comes under indifference curve. In this indifference curve, we know the marginal rate of substitution. We discussed that, and the law of diminishing marginal rate of substitution. And what do you mean by monotonic preferences? What is indifference map? If we have a family of indifference map, what is the consumer's preferences over these indifference family of indifference curves? That gives us indifference map. And if we look into these features, the slopes, acyclic slope downwards from left to right, slope downwards from left to right. That is first feature, because to get extra of this product, we need to forego with this product. So that is the nature. That's why it always slopes downwards from left to right. And the second point here is the second feature. The higher the IC curve gives it greater level of utility. If the IC curve here, if it is 1, IC curve 1, if the higher IC curve, then the satisfaction here, if we compare to IC curve 2, here he will get the greater satisfaction. That is the second feature. And third feature is two different IC curves, they never intersect. Correct? Because of the indifference curve behavior, they will never intersect. If it intersects, it gives conflicting result. So that is why they will never intersect. To keep this utility same on each bundle, they can't intersect. So these are the features of indifference curve. All these points come under indifference curve, and we have next topic on the consumer's budget, that we will discuss in the next class. Thank you for your time and have a good time.